Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are. My name is Matt Samuelson, and I'm the CTO for Triotos. And today we're gonna talk about new ways of implementing low-cost tracking solutions. For your information, there is on the side of your screen a place where you can actually type in some questions. And I will make one break during my presentation, and then a more formal one at the end where you can ask any questions that you want. So the agenda today is I'm going to give an introduction to our company, Triotos. I'm going to share what our reference architecture is and how that basically enables a new way of doing low-cost tracking solutions. And then this is going to describe our tracking solution, mTracker. And then, describe the Triotos, how we implement it and how we solve it. And then I'm going to do a demo, and that will contain, the applications that come with mTracker when you buy it out of the box, so to speak. So what we are focusing on is to deliver deployable industrial IoT overlay solution using the Amazon Web Services IoT Cloud. And with overlay, we basically mean solutions that can be deployed on top of existing industrial systems or in existing services and applications. So you can avoid, expensive integration services and, long deploying times. The solutions we offer are based on our reference architecture, and that includes applications for data and analytics, monitoring and administration. We'll go over those towards the end of our presentation. Everything we do is based on the AWS IoTcore data handling platform, the platform that has extensive distributed capabilities for data handling, security, device authentication, and also things like Lambda functions and machine learning, which you can implement in the cloud, or you can implement it in gateways if need be. The other part of the AWS applications that we use are their extensive set of analytics applications and data storage applications. Normally we tend to store IoT data in time series. That's not necessarily required, but for that we then use time series analytics that is optimized for that. We support a range of IoT connectivities, both wired and wireless. And as far as IoT devices, we get them from our partners. Our applications are not static, they are evolving. I will show you the apps. We have a flexible approach of application pods, and they basically evolve over time. We start out with a basic set, and then we will evolve those, and then for particular customers we can customize data pods for their specific needs. And our whole approach is to offer customized solutions to meet customer needs and integration. So when you get a kind of an out-of-the-box solution from us, something that can be deployed very quick, all we need to do is send you devices and bring up your instance and provide you with the user interface or with the login passwords, and you're in business. But the typical engagement is that we will work with you to customize the applications to meet your specific needs. What data are you interested in? What type of movements are you interested in? And what type of integration do you want with other business systems or applications? So we basically use a reference architecture, and this we use for all of our vertical applications. The one we're talking about today here is the tracker one, and that basically sends data over the mobile wireless network to the IoTcore platform, where it basically you have the first kind of filtering and then decide, what you want to do with the data. Forward it to applications in the AWS cloud, forward it to databases for storage, and some of it is directed directly to application servers. And these are the same type of application servers that are used for all internet and mobile applications. So there's no difference as far as the application part. It will work on everything that you have today, all your computers, web browsers, and also support mobile applications, for Android and iPhone. Out of the box, we haven't implemented an Android or iPhone application, but that's something that we will be doing in the near future, and working with customers on what their specific needs are. So these applications, as you can see, there's all data going back and forth here in this architecture. You got data, you got events coming in, as it starts to move, you get some alarms if there's an issue like low battery. We got monitoring data coming in, and then of course coming from the center towards the end, we have provisioning data, and I'll show you how easy it is to provision a new mobile device and get it to pop up in your applications. And then, of course, as far as applications, we get requests for specific analytics, specific data, and responses on that. We'll talk about our 4 applications that we have. They are designed for 4 different types of users within your organization. If you're a small organization, that may be 1 user. If you're a bigger one, that may be multiple users. So one of them is straightforward admin functions that will handle, assigning new users that have access to part of the applications or all of the applications. Another thing done by the administrative part is provisioning, although that can be, portioned out to someone within your organization that focuses on that. The kind of core application is data event analysis, i.e. you're looking at the IT data as it's coming in. And then, we also then have an analytics application where you can see some, in the beginning here, relatively straightforward and simple analytics, but as we move further, all sorts of correlations and things. And finally, we have something that's slightly unique when it comes to IoT solutions, and that is basically the equivalent of a network operations center. I'm a telecom guy myself, so I've spent large chunks of my career in the fixed and mobile and the internet industries. And there, being able to actually know that your network operations are up all the time is a key part. And also here, if you have 100,000 trackers out there, you want to make sure that you know exactly the status of those trackers at any given time so that you know what to do with them. One final thing is we are using, a number of AWS applications. One of them is their general purpose messaging service, something called SNS, and that is how we deliver emails and mobile messages. So we basically use the AWS infrastructure for everything, which means that the scalability is, infinite, so to speak. So mTracker is a prepackaged low-cost tracking solution. It is a totally scalable cloud architecture, supports anywhere from tens to hundreds of thousands of trackers and devices. For this particular mTracker solution, we have done a complete integrations with the secure AT&T's LTE-M cellular connectivity network. Now, LTE-M is an IoT connectivity. It's low cost. You can get 1 meg of data per month for $1, and that's of course much cheaper than the typical $30 data plans. We have done a complete integration with the AT&T's SIM provisioning and also with their network. So we have a secure VPN connectivity, and we have our own APN, which means our data traffic isn't traveling on the same data network as any consumer traffic, but it's basically in a separate secure network. The trackers we use, I'll talk a little about them. The next slide are battery-powered trackers. And what's unique with LTE mTrackers is that they can have a very, very long life, between 3 and 10 years, depending on how you use them. And then we have delivered a set of basic customizable applications for monitoring, managing, and data presentation, including analytics. So I'll take a quick break right now and ask if there are any particular questions. Any questions that have come in? Or?
Mats, I see one question here. What is the difference between this solution and the commercially available tracker solutions?
Yeah, the biggest difference is that we are using, a new generation of trackers, and of course anyone can do that, but that means they have to integrate it with their existing solutions. The other thing is most commercially available tracking solutions are what I call custom designed. They are not implemented in the cloud, and those two characteristics means that as far as we're concerned, we can deliver tracking solutions to customers that anything from tens to hundreds of thousands of trackers. We have implemented a completely secure infrastructure, and then of course we use the new generation of battery powered trackers with a long life. So that's the main difference. I think many existing solutions you can get started in a couple of days. It's the same with us, and obviously we do offer very flexible ways of buying the solution. You can basically pay as you go, or you can basically own or even manage the solution on your own. So if you want your own cloud-based AWS cloud-based solution, we will basically give you a complete AWS cloud instance, and it's yours. You pay support for our software, but you operate it and maintain it on yourself on your own. So the tracker architecture we have, it's kind of a general architecture that we have all of our solutions. We have 6 of them, pretty much use the same architecture. The difference is, the applications look different, and then typically the connectivity look very, very different. So in the initial rollout of tracking, we use LTE-M, as I mentioned, and we connect over the cellular network. But as far as connectivity is concerned, there's nothing to stop us from offering, near area network connectivity like Bluetooth 5 or LoRaWAN, where if you want to track assets that are within 3/4 of a mile of a central point, you can do that. And we offer those solutions, and obviously there's a gateway associated with them, and then you have small trackers. Tracking devices, we use these 2 initially, and we will be adding other trackers, including OBD trackers that are powered. This particular one is designed for long battery life. They have a strong magnet, so you basically just smack them onto the magnetic asset you want to track, and there it sits for 3 years or 5 years, 10 years, and battery life is measured as to if you send 1 report per day, that's the life you get. So if you report more often, if assets move a lot during a day, then of course battery life will go down accordingly. But these are fully weatherproof, waterproof devices. They wake up when they're moving, and then they report when they stop moving. It is possible to configure them to report while they're moving, and but of course that will then reduce the battery life accordingly. So let's take a look at our applications here. So basically we have one for data event monitoring, which is your dashboard for the IoT data. It's a pod-based UI, which is customizable, shows current historical data. It has a map where it shows where the assets are located. On the other side, we have a dashboard for analytics, which is same type of interface, where we do real-time analysis and time series analysis, and where we also are implementing machine learning and AI. And that's something we will typically do working with a specific user, saying, for your particular assets, what is it that you want to hear, or want to see. So one of the differences between our solution and the other solutions on the market is we have a very customizable approach as far as delivering the type of applications that you want to see. I already mentioned the administrative provisioning dashboard for user admin, and then end-to-end provisioning, and then also handling firmware updates and specific setting device changes and things like that. And finally, our network operations center. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch over. I'm going to show this live. So this is an instance of mTracker, and I can go to the data event monitoring application, and this is basically what it looks like. So this happens to be a tracker that's located in my home, and it's sitting on the garage, under the car in the garage. And what you have here is where it's been located at any given time. You can just click on this, and it will open up basically at what time it was in that location. If it traveled, in this particular case, it did. The other thing we did, we just went ahead and did an integration with a weather API. Nothing necessarily you may want in your business, although, if you rent certain types of assets, you may want to correlate them with the weather. Things are, you rent when it's hot outside, and other things when it's cold. But we just did that integration just to kind of show how easy it is to integrate with different types of data. And so, any API, we can basically just bring it in and bring in the data associated with it. And then as you store the particular time series data associated with a particular asset, it will store all relevant information that you want from whatever system you have. So this can be, one of your internal systems, handling, for example, some billing information. You can show up, how much the customer has paid or whatever you want. Very flexible from that perspective. And basically what this is, it kind of shows on a bigger picture where we have trackers around. We have down in New Jersey, we have in New York, and right now we have 6 of these configured. And as you can see, the status is that they're all working, and so you can get a quick glance at the user interface, and you can quickly see that. On the analytics front, I basically have the same thing. I got 6 trackers. We haven't been moving around today, so they're stationary. You can see that quickly. All of them are nicely charged, and you can see that they haven't been active, and you can also see that none of them have been moving. This is some historical data of some speed when we were driving around with the trackers, and you can also see, how many times they moved during a certain time frame, and you can basically see the time in minutes that they have been moving, and the battery voltage. Some of these are kind of relevant, some of them are irrelevant. We just showed them as examples. So before I go to the system monitor, I'm just going to show you the administration provisioning interface here. So let's close this here. And as you can see, we have a general dashboard. We have the users that are provisioned to and this will basically show you, and this is associated with you, will show everyone within your organization that is actually provisioned to use this particular device. Now, as typical during demos, things are supposed to be faster. We're doing a little re-engineering of some of the microservices, and so the goal with that is we'll get things improved. And here you can add a particular user. You can add different types of roles. You can add service person, and if you add a service person, you can provide a particular contact number here, an email, and then you can set it up so that when the asset moves, a particular message will be sent to one or a group of service managers, knowing that, oh, the customer is now using our device here. So it's just an example of what we can do. We can assign these asset trackers individually or in groups. The next thing is we can provision them in as something we call sites. So typically in tracking, that would be maybe a location with rental equipment or something like that. But we can also then, of course, click them, assign them on a kind of device by device basis. So these are the 6 trackers as they are assigned right now. And you can see the yellow one is assigned to me, Matt Samuelson here. And just to show you how easy it is to add a new device. So these are mobile devices. So mobile devices come with 2 things. They come with what is called an ICC ID, and they come with a SIM card number. And all you need to do is to look at the back of your device. You'll make sure that it's battery powered, and you type in the ICC ID and the mobile device number. Then you give it a device name that is unique for your organization. So for example, device names here has been Blue Tracker, Orange Tracker, or whatever. But you can also give them an asset name so that if you have different types of assets, you can assign different names. So that means that when you do your reports, you can do them by asset name, you can do them by device name, etc. And here again, here's where you allow the notification. And then, of course, if an asset is assigned to a particular person, they will be receiving messages. And finally, our network operations center. It kind of looks very similar to the general data event monitoring. It doesn't necessarily have to look like this. So for example, if all your assets are like on an industrial site within 3/4 of a mile within a perimeter, and you use a different, then you wouldn't have a map, but you would have basically a representation of your site. Here, you see some other information. You actually get the weather here too. We put that in. But you see the battery level and you see the data used. So let me talk a little more specific about that. So battery level is here, and whether the device is communicating, and the answer is yes, it did communicate a day ago. Last timestamp for the communication, and then data usage, and the data plans you have from any mobile operator. They are monthly, so they roll over, and ours roll over on November 5th, the 5th of every month. And as you can see, we've used 2.5% of the data since then. So with that, finishing that demonstration, I'm going to go back to mTracker here and basically just summarize. What it is a prepackaged low-cost tracking solution, and it has the product attributes that we talked about. And out of the box, what you get are trackers. You get your account, and you then go in and quickly configure the trackers, assign the names you want, and you're in business. So with that, I'm going to open up for any additional questions.
Matt, 2 questions came in.
Yep.
So we had a question about the cost. What is the typical cost for this solution?
Yeah, so it's we're pretty flexible as to how we do that type of pricing. As I said, pay as you go. We're starting at you can have an option. You can buy the devices and then you have a slightly lower monthly fee. Otherwise, a good place to start is around $25 or something like that. And then, if you want a different type of solution, I mean, you can basically get volumes, a platform fee for up to 500 devices or something like that. And if you want to own the implementation, one of the slogans we use is less than 100,000 and deployable within weeks instead of months and years. But as you're interested, please contact us with your specific needs, and then we will work out something that works for you. Now, what was the next question?
It had to do with ordering the solution. How would a person order the solution, the mTracker?
Yeah, you just go to mtracker.com and then you fill in the contact form and you will be contacted, and we will give you another demo, much more customized to your needs. In fact, if you will then have given us your company address and logo. So what we'll do, I'll just bring up the instance as it will look like. So that would have your logo instead of the mTracker one. Anything else? Any other questions?
That was it on the chat.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'd like to thank you for your attention here, and we look forward to getting more interactions from you. And please contact us, and we'll get on the phone with you and we'll discuss your specific needs, and then what type of customizations you want, and then we'll deliver a quote for you. As I said, the out-of-the-box solution is, I believe the order time now for the trackers is about 2 weeks. So you could be up and running in 2 weeks' time. Thank you very much, and have a good afternoon, evening, or morning, depending on where you are in the world, maybe even the night.